Hi, my name is Vincent Simoni, and in this lesson, I'm going to be covering the forehand elbow positions step by step from start to finish. Let's begin. So, phase one of the forehand, okay, is our unit turn and our coil. So from the ready positions, our elbows are up and away from our body, and they are bent. They're not down like a T-Rex, right? We're not swiping at the ball, and we're not up like this, hunched and tight. So what we're gonna do is have the tip of the racket under eye level, the butt of the racket lined up with our belly button, and we should be able to shoot a basketball in our space. Now we're gonna maintain this space by making a coil. Now at this point, some people make the mistake of having this arm straight, okay? We don't wanna straighten it. Let's keep it bent, let's keep it close. And if you notice when I turn, if I just take my body back, okay, it's basically the ready position. I change the grip on the forehand, some people don't. So if you already have yourself in the forehand grip, you would just, boom, twist like a HB pencil, okay? Just like this. Now, our elbow's in the same position that it started. Let's keep it simple, let's keep it easy. We want to have little movement from this point. Now in phase two, here's where it gets a little bit complicated and people get pretty confused. So from here, we have the racket drop where we get the racket to fall slightly under the height of the ball, okay? Now, I'm also gonna tell you what happens with the other elbow, so pay attention to this. You keep your left hand on the throat of the racket until the ball bounces, okay? To keep your unit turned together and avoid going like that. When we sit in a chair and let the racket free fall into what we call pat the dog, so we can hood our racket and get topspin, your other elbow is gonna go parallel with the baseline. We're gonna use it later to uncoil. Now let's go back to this elbow. The elbow position, it needs to stay on the outside of our pocket. We should still be maintaining the space here that we established earlier. And failure to do this will cause you to have an open racket face, get less racket head speed at contact point, and most likely you will end up wrapping the racket behind your back. That is not power, that is not leverage. So let's have this space and maintain it, and then we're gonna go inside to outside. Now phase three, after we've established a good setup and our elbows have done the right thing by not even thinking about them, okay? We're not setting our elbows anywhere, we're loose and relaxed, our arm is just along for the ride. Okay, we free fall into pat the dog. My elbow is still bent. Now from here, when I fire to contact, it is completely acceptable to have a bent elbow. Most players do, including me. And of course, some players have more of a straight arm, okay? But what you will notice is that every player, no matter what, after contact point, the elbow goes back to being bent, okay? There's a lot of debate, but I would argue that having a bent elbow even offers more power and more leverage. That's just my opinion. Okay, I'm not saying that having your arm like this is wrong. Of course, it's great, but it's not, easy or ideal to have this sort of hitting zone every time in a match. It's much easier to just have, what we call the double bend, okay? Where it's a bend here and then a bend in the wrist, okay? What's more important if your elbow is straight or bent is that you have a letter L here, a curl in the wrist, L for leverage. This is a bend as well that if you don't have, your contact point will be flimsy and loose. So make sure your wrist is back. From here, we go inside to outside. Notice how my elbow doesn't glide along here and it doesn't come across my midsection and chest too early. That's another thing that's gonna stop you from hitting on a straight line and cracking through the ball and having pop. So you wanna feel like you throw your body first and your elbow and your shoulder kind of just fly out of their socket. For a right-handed player, we want to throw our racket out to the right as much as possible, hit the ball, keep going past it, and once we can't go any further, then we wrap around, okay? Now the elbow at contact point, okay, it's like this, or it's like this, but it's the same as whichever one you want to do. Okay, the wrist is back. When we contact the ball, we let go of the angle in our wrist, and the elbow goes bent into the windshield wiper. And this is where we generate massive amounts of topspin on our forehand. A lot of people, if they straighten out the arm at contact, they'll make the mistake of keeping the arm straight, okay? You don't want to do that. You don't want to push the ball, okay? You want to cover the ball quickly and get racket head speed, which means let's get from point A to point B as fast as possible. And the way to do that is to cover a shorter distance, okay? By having our arm, boom, come back and around as quickly as possible, okay? By letting our elbow bend and swinging like a windshield wiper, hand to hand. I'm not going to tell you, where to finish. Some people catch the racket, some people don't. It's up to you. It's going to be a byproduct of the amazing things that we set up from the beginning, okay? I do recommend though, however, not finishing too high up, okay? Because it makes it a little bit harder to crack through the middle of the ball and you may find yourself skimming your forehand, okay? Now just remember, keep in mind, I did give you the elbow positions of the forehand, but this is a byproduct of throwing your body. At no point during the swing am I gripping the racket with all my might and force, okay? The racket, we're holding it at a 3 out of 10, okay? We're not a bodybuilder, okay? We're a tennis player. We're gonna let our arms lag loose and relax behind us, okay? The arm needs to be the last part of your kinetic chain. So just to remind, the folks out there, swing starts from the ground up, okay? And also to remind you, this arm, we're using it to uncoil, so it's out like we're surfing when we drop the racket and pat the dog. And then we go, lift with the legs, straighten out the chest, okay, the hips, pull in this arm. And once I've opened up these major lines to my target, the racket comes through as the last part of the kinetic chain. But it's so loose and it's so relaxed. And I'm not hyper focusing on what my elbow is doing, okay? I did show you where your elbow should go and, the things not to do with your elbow, but keep in mind, once you get this, right, we're not just swinging with our arm by itself, sending it on a lone mission, okay? Use your body to reduce the range of motion and have a much better forehand. Tennis Doctor is a self-help tennis book for adults. You could have 40-inch biceps, rapid anticipation, fancy feet, and a brilliant mind, but if you have poor swing mechanics, you will never win. You can have slow reactions, terrible footwork, and be 40 pounds overweight, yet still make a good shot if you can produce a perfect swing. By reading Tennis Doctor, you own the secret to a perfect swing, and if we have to, we'll call you an Uber to get you to the ball in time. Read it now on Amazon. Tired of going down a rabbit hole of tennis videos? I have organized, categorized, and systemized the best tennis information for playing advanced level tennis, and I want you to have it. You can copy it, get better fast, and save time and money that you will never get back. Get started today by clicking the link down below.